Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Action Taimanin. Today, we're going to check character limited packs. Um, this is just as a way to remind people how some specific supporters, weapons, and synergies work with this, and talking about if they're worth or not to get. We usually get a repeat for these packs. Like we get it, we get the release, then we get a repeat sometime after that, and then it takes a good amount of time to get the third repeat. Um, I mean, not always. Like some characters got a ton of repeats at the beginning, but now they take a lot of time. Sue got her third repeat at the start of the year with the Dragon Pack. So that's a thing to take into consideration. They take some time to come back. So you want to know whether you want to get these packs or not, if they're worth it or not, if the synergy is really good or just whatever. So let's see. We're gonna analyze everything starting from the skins. And we do this. And the first one is gonna be Asagi. Asagi, I do have it because I think it's one of her coolest skins because of this. So yeah, Asagi has a weapon. This weapon, it's a Ninja Greatsword Oren, and increases skill damage by 25%. Performs a counter attack of 150% damage and knocks back the enemies when dodging immediately after being attacked. So that means that is one of those counterattacks. You receive a hit and then you use the dodge and then you're going to counterattack. It doesn't say cooldown. That's nice because if it doesn't have cooldown, I never use this. That's why I say if. You could abuse it, especially with Asagi Blue, because Asagi Blue has HP recovery. So, is this good? Not really. I mean, a 50% generic damage increase on skill damage is nice. I won't deny that. But Asagi has other weapons. We got this F2P, and that's great. We also have. If you like to go for the super slow strategy with Asagi, because that's one of her main like playstyles, this is also very good. Naruto is also very good because it works with the stacks, but you lose them if you get hit, but you won't get hit if you slow the enemy. So yeah, it is not the greatest, but it is usable and it works with any color. That's something that I like about the old weapons. A ton of the old weapons work on any color, and that's nice, really nice. So on the other hand, we have the supporter. The supporter I do not have, so we have to go here. And this one says increase damage dealt with ultimates by 20%. That's gonna become 40%. That's terrible. And I mean terrible. The amount of damage that you get is only 20%. That's Susune. When she's max out, Susune gives also 40% damage increase on debuffed enemies. So that works for skills, that works for basics, and that works for the ulti. So if Gremory wants to make ulti supporters, they need to give like number one particle charge and number two a big number that makes the ulti effect worth it. Something bigger than standard damage increase. A standard damage increase goes from 25% to 50%. Yeah, that's kind of the biggest ones. There's a handful of supporters that go beyond 50% damage increase, but if I'm only going to receive the damage increase on the ulti, it has to be way bigger than that, like 100%. I know it is a big number, and I say that's crazy. Well, no, it isn't. It really should be that way if it's going to focus on the ulti. So, the active says briefly moves at the speed of light, reduces the defense of all enemies by 18%. Let's double that, and it's going to be 36%, and slows them for 8 seconds. Doesn't say the percentage of the slow. I guess it's the same. And it is not a bad active. But the passive is just terrible. Yeah, you don't want this. So, maybe one thing to take into consideration before we continue with all of this is that, wait a moment, I think it's here, yeah. You want copies of the supporters, at least one, to unlock this. For example, increase damage dealt with melee attacks by 10%. A generic good skill. Increase damage with range attacks. If you have these limited supporters, I don't have them, so I don't have those unlocked. But truth be told, the one that I use the most, my favorite, is very F2P, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, come on, it's at the very top. Yeah, Home Alone is like super good, and it's F2P. But my other favorite is this one. The Name of Fuma. Increases damage dealt with normal attacks to enemies with debuff by 6%, which is like whatever. But the important thing, reduces damage taken from bosses by 20%. That's really good. So you shouldn't worry about the other set effects that you're not getting. Though that is the important one. So yeah. The next one is gonna be Sakura. Sakura I didn't buy it. The skin is like not too bad. Not too bad. It is not like whoa, super cool, amazing, or super sexy, but it's just okay. It's casual, casual good. I like it. I like it. The weapon. Do I have the weapon though? I don't think so. No, I don't have the weapon. So we go to collection. We go to weapon, and we go to Sakura's. I don't know where it is, so I'll just do this. Sakura. This one. Yeah. Ninja Dagger Kibo. Shadow Spin skill makes an additional spin attack. Each spin uses 40%, 14% of particle dodge to cancel. That's not bad and not good. It's a mixture of good and bad. Why? There are problems with this skill. A long time ago that was pretty bad because you weren't locked to the attack because you could cancel it. That was a good thing. Shadow spin. It's Shadow Spin the name or Shadow Cleave? Let's see. I'm gonna check that again. Collection, weapon, Sakura, Shadow Spin. Let's see. Sakura. This one. Wasn't it Shadow Cleave? I swear that it was Shadow Cleave, not Shadow Spin. Like, I am really confused. Weapon. Will make an additional spin attack. I don't have the weapon. I cannot check it. If you guys have it, please let me know. But I think this is Shadow Cleave, the blue one, because it says that it makes additional spins and you can cancel it. Let me explain. Yeah, I have to check the character so that you know. So, Shadow Spin is the name of this skill. But what would it make? It would make an additional spin and you get additional HP with blue. That would be nice. But if I'm not mistaken, it's for this one. And it increases the amount of hits. And you can cancel it. I don't know because I don't have the weapon, guys. So you let me know in the comments. I think the weapon is usable, but isn't the most busted thing. Definitely, Twinkle Riser is better. Way better. And also, we have the Butterfly weapon. I don't know how to pronounce this, but we have the Butterfly weapon, and that's a really good option if you want to use Sakura. So, these two weapons surpass, in my opinion, the gacha weapon. So, it is not necessary to get Sakura. On the other hand, we have the Sakura supporter. I have copies of this, but not because I roll. I actually got like 2 copies on the what's the name? The exchange facility. Increase damage dealt to snared enemies by 30%. So it is usable for the snare strategy as another means of increasing damage, which is okay if you want to go with blue. More options. But it is not necessary per se. Conjures a shadow that snares all enemies for 5 seconds. If we double that, it will be 10 seconds. Gain more particles from normal attacks for the duration. Gremory needs to rework this stuff. I mean the definition of their effects, because gain more particles by how much? By 50%? By 200%? It's a big difference depending on the percentage that increases. So, or does it mean that we get more drops? This one is generic good on snare strategies, but if you're not using the snare strategy, this is not good. So it is usable if you want it, if you like those strategies where the enemy doesn't move, it's viable. But remember this, the more difficult the content, the more you want to rely on damage. So 30% isn't the biggest damage that you can get. So I wouldn't suggest getting copies of Umbra Igawa Sakura, in my opinion. Then we're gonna go with who? Yes, you. Why is Rinko here? Isn't this in order? I don't know why he's here, but let's go with her. Oh, she has so many limited. God. So Yuki has the Lightning Onyx. It is a cool skin, I won't deny, but I have never been that big of a fan of Yuki, though we have this, and yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get it. Besides, the limited weapon and supporter, well, guess what? They are not that appealing to me, also, because what do these do? Increases skill damage by 44%. That's nice. That's really, really, really strong. And I mean really strong. Immediately activates either Spark or Rakurai if equipped with its duration. If equipped. With its duration increased by 1 second. I guess that means that the duration increases for 2 seconds. So Rakurai, this one. Okay, and what was the other one? Ryujin? I don't know them, guys. I really get confused with this because I never use them. As you see, I don't have them. I wasn't able to get those at the start of the game. Spark. Okay, let's see. What is a Spark? So, Spark. This one. They are kind of the same. Immediately before an enemy attack. So, both of these are immediately before of an enemy attack, so you are going to select one of the two. Increase damage, increase the range of the auto attack, attack 3 enemies within range at the same time. Red is not bad actually. Reduce skill cooldown, increase the range of the thunder, particle charge. In my opinion, this one is the best one, especially with red, to increase your particle charge. But that depends if you want to use actives. But that is an active, so yeah, it is. It is a thing. I mean, I do like the weapon for Yuki because of the generic skill damage increase that go beyond 30%. That's nice. That's nice. And then we have the supporter. The supporter, if I'm not mistaken, I don't like that one. Supporter. Yeah. Increase your range attacks critical rate by 8%. That would go to 16%. And critical damage by 36%. That would go to 36. It's 16 at base. Against stunned or groggy enemies. Oh! God, no! Why? I mean, it would be a nice effect, except for the fact that you need the enemy to be groggy or stunned. And though Yuki has ways to stun and make the enemy groggy, yes, she's not going to do that to an enemy with super armor. And the BR enemies take a ton of effort to break their super armor. So, no, you're not getting the benefit of that. You don't want it. Passive counterattacks the incoming attack and deals 85% of the incoming damage. Every fourth counterattack deals additional damage and stun the enemy. Horrible active too. Wow. Yeah, you don't want the supporter. The weapon you do want, but the supporter you don't. If you're willing to if you like Yuki and you're willing to use your Demonite, you could get the weapon with one of those tickets that we receive every now and then that gives limited weapons, and then get the extra S levels with the Demonite. But it is a high investment. I don't know if you want that. Besides, it's Yuki. Let's see. Yuki. Yuki is another user of butterfly weapons, so maybe you don't want to do that, guys. Yeah. She has butterfly weapons. She also has this that it's usable. It's not like busted, just usable. And she has... yeah, I mean, mainly that. The butterfly weapon and this. And there's also Greek Fire, of course. Deals damage against super armor enemies, removes all the stack when super armor is destroyed, and increases skill damage. So, yeah. Let's see, the next one, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be Rinko. For Rinko, we have the custom. I have it here. That one I did get because I did like the custom. And the weapon is busted. The weapon you do want. This weapon, I only have it as one, but because I couldn't roll then, but it is really good. Increases skill damage by 22%, similar to Yuki. And your Wind Slice skill activates twice in a row. Wind Slice is the three colors skill. And it is super good that you activate this twice. If you do that, you're going to shred the enemy super armor. It's amazing. So yeah, that one is very valuable. And the supporter for this one, is it green? No, it's blue. Reduces the damage taken from range attacks by 15%. That goes to 30%. You have a 10% chance to reduce any damage taken by 40%, that would be 90% when attacked. Not that good. The passive is meant to be defensive, but usually the enemies are going to go melee or mixed. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend to use this if you want to go defensive. Then it has another passive, deals 200% damage to all enemies every 5 seconds with a 30% chance. That is appreciated for Rinko's style because it is like she's dealing more hits to break the super armor, creates a gravity zone that pulls the enemy towards her and deals 400% damage and make them groggy. So this one, the active is actually useful, but it is not like busted. It is a means of controlling the enemy and gathering them. So skills like Rinko's Meteor can actually deal damage to everyone, Meteor Impact. This work with many characters who want that and don't have means of gathering the enemy, other than just taunting them and trying to control their movement. So it is a nice active, but it's not worth the bad passive. Let's see. The next one is going to be Nui, Shira Nui. She has the non outfit. The non outfit is pretty nice, as you can see. The weapon. When Phantom Summoning is activated, the illusion has a 60% chance to use Yugengoku, a skill enhance effect not applied. But the Phantom uses Yugengoku, which is a strong skill. Gains super armor for 16 seconds and increases the damage dealt to all enemies by 15%. So, this one, I think it is a good skill. Phantom Summoning and Yugengoku. Let's check those. Yugengoku is the all green, and Phantom Summoning, it's the one. It's an effect that you get with the active and with Genejin. So this is good because you don't activate the Yugengoku's effect on the Phantom, so you can use it on any color. That's nice. Also, the other effect is generic for any build. The active is pretty good. On the other hand, we have the supporter. The supporter. Increases damage dealt to all enemies by 30%. Okay, nice, acceptable. Reduces damage taken by 3% and damage dealt by 5% per each nearby enemy. What? So, I'm gonna reduce my damage? No, this is horrible. I mean, if you increase the... Oh my god, it's not getting reduced? If this 5% doesn't get reduced, then I have always thought that it is bad, and it is pretty bad. I mean, you can play range Nui, yes. Or you can use it for range attackers, yes. And it's a 30% damage increase, but I would go for something else. I really think they should rework this part. It is completely unnecessary. So, the other passive, reduces the remaining cooldown time of one of the character's skills by 20% upon being attacked. Applies once every 15 seconds. So, getting cooldown reduction is nice, but you have to get hit. So that could work for a tank, but you have to deal with the horrible main passive, so I don't know about that. The good thing about this one, summon an illusion that deals 140% of melee attack damage for 12 seconds. That's good, especially if you have the weapon, because you're going to use Yugengoku. So, the passive is horrible, this one, but this is not too bad. This is especially good for tanks. And this is especially good if you have the weapon. So, do you want it? Not unless you want to use that specific build on Shiranui. But the weapon, you do want it. That's like, oops, an amazing weapon. An amazing weapon, yes. Now, let's go with Emily. Emily, poor Emily. I couldn't get her. I couldn't get the skin when it released. Yes, this one, the monologist. The monologist Emily. Yeah, nice, nice. Ah, the glasses are different. Very good. So, the monologist Emily uh, is one of the best limited sets, but also not. The weapon is what is the best thing in the world. So let's go with the weapon. Uh, let's see. Here, the weapon, this one. Hermetic Magistus. So, passive. Homing bullet becomes a fireball and further enhances the supporter's set effect by 50%. That's the thing that really matters. Enhances the supporter's set effect. So this is going to increase the active's performance by 50%. And on things like the disarm strategy, this is extremely valuable. So yeah, it is definitely worth it. The active also creates an ice storm that deals damage to all enemies within range and freezes them for 5 seconds. It freezes as I always say, is one of the strongest debuffs. You get insane control on the enemy because they cannot move until you hit them, and you can just destroy them. Bad things about this, that it's for Emily. If you use Emily, you usually are going to use zero system, which is going to auto attack. And if Emily auto attacks, you're going to hit the enemy with a normal attack, with a basic attack instead of a skill, not taking advantage of that freeze. That's bad. The homing bullets are a generic good skill that everyone uses. Getting enhancing their performance is super great. So that's a no-brainer. And then the supporter. The supporter, I also don't have it. Emily. Where are you? Green. Aha. So increases max HP by 15%, so that goes up to 30%. It is nice when you have those because you can make tanky units just by increasing the HP. It's amazing. Increase damage dealt to all enemies by 15%, it goes up to 30% when character's HP is below 50%. That's not nice. You always want to remain healthy, so 75% would be ideal for this. So if you want to make a tanky build, it works. If you have insane HP recovery, it works even better. And the other one, normal attacks shoot up to 3 fireballs, inflict 30% of damage every 4 seconds. That's really good, especially for Emily. Because you're going to deal extra damage, and it's on a low cooldown, only 4 seconds. That's amazing. The active strikes and lightning deals 310% damage to enemies within area and make them grommy. Damage dealt is increased by 20% for 10 seconds. Excellent active. The groggy doesn't matter. The damage increase is what really matters. It's amazing. So yeah, this is really good. The passive is not that impressive, but the effects on the active and the extra passive are really nice. Especially for Emily. For fast attackers, for fast basic attackers. Now, you want to get that? Yes, definitely. Both are useful. Not busted, but useful. Let's see. If you're a fan of the disarm strategy, then it's a must. I mean, there are other ways, but it really enhances that strategy. Then we have Murasaki. Oh, my poor girl Murasaki. This is one of the coolest skills in the game. It's amazing. And it has a nice red color. Gremory, try to rebalance the coloring of the limited skins. Not all are like nice. Look at these wings. What happened there? Why don't I change the color there? So yeah. For the weapon we have this. Using Great Axe style Setsuga, each spin uses 16% of particles to do an additional attack spin. Dodge to cancel. That's insanely good, amazing. Yet, it is not good at the same time. The main appeal of Murasaki is that she's a super strong tank with super armor, HP recovery. It's amazing. But in blue, she doesn't have the same amount of HP recovery. She doesn't get HP recovery here, nor here, only here. But what makes this viable? The amount of damage that you can deal. You just erase everything. This is not for challenging content, but it can be used with some strategies for challenging content. If you use it on a debuff extend strategy with Little Witsu, it is an amazing skill to use Setsuga. To use Setsuga. Great Axe Setsuga along with the weapon. It is amazing. On most situations, you don't want this, but it is pretty fun to use. I'll just say that. It is super fun to use. It's fun to just Beyblade. And then we have the supporter. Where are you, Murasaki? Supporters? Supporters. Blue. This one is busted. Increases your max HP by 18%. I guess that's gonna be 30% at max because I have it S2. Continually restores 5% of your lost HP every 7 seconds. But it ends when your HP drops below 15% of the maximum. The idea is that you don't let that happen by having other means of HP recovery or damage reduction. If you mitigate damage, there's not going to be a problem. And the active creates a magnetic field that pulls the enemies in and deal 64% damage over time, bombards the area after 3 seconds to perform an additional area attack, increases particle gains from normal attacks for 8 seconds. So, it is pretty good. With this, you're going to gather the enemies, you're going to continuously attack, and then you're going to do an explosion, and you're going to get a bunch of particles if there are many enemies there. And also you can do the basic attacks to increase your particle gain. So it's a way to launch ultis back to back. It is pretty good. Yeah, this supporter is really worth it. Even though the weapon isn't that impressive, it is a meme weapon and it is pretty fun to use the weapon. So don't be angry if you get the weapon instead of the supporter. It's useful. Then we have Kurenai. For Kurenai, here you can already see the skin. It's really nice, and it has a different hairstyle. The weapon. Let's start always with the weapon. Dainsleif. This one is nice, especially if you are an enthusiast of weapon actives. This is one of the best weapon actives in the game. On the place where Gale Slash passes through, the wind rages and deals 100% more damage and reduces enemies' movement speed by 10% for 10 seconds. So I am not a fan of that skill of Gale Slash because it immediately after an attack you have to do this. So it says that the cooldown is 2 seconds, so yes, you can always use it, but the real cooldown of this skill is the fact that you have to do all the animation of the attack and then you use that. So you have to add the cooldown of the other skills to that. But you can then rotate to another skill or your basic attacks and such. So it is a useful skill, and getting the speed control is nice. Increasing your damage is also nice because that skill recovers HP. But this isn't like the most important thing about this weapon. It's this, the active, conjures a gust of wind that automatically deals 100% damage to nearby enemies for 10 seconds. It costs 5 particles, but it lasts long, and if you have particle charge increase, this is going to auto charge itself pretty easily, and you're going to constantly use this. On the other hand, we have the supporter. The supporter pairs well with the weapon, but it is super niche. Reduces the duration of all debuffs on oneself by 20%. That's kind of bad for the most part. As I have said before, not always are we going to have stages that are super aggressive on the debuff department. The one that is the most aggressive is Queen Arachne, and I don't consider that good enough to justify, like aggressive enough to justify using this support to reduce the duration of the debuffs. So yeah. The other effect, each critical hit deals an additional 40% of damage, and a stun attack applies every 5 seconds. So getting a critical damage increase is nice. Though the cooldown I don't like. Then the active. This is where it gets to start really weird, but also really good. Passive. Vanishes for 2 seconds when protect type character gets attacked. Evading all attacks and damage. Applies every 10 seconds when the character gets hit and flinches. Only supporter skills work during this effect. That's a lie, also weapon skills. So it only works for protect type characters, number one. Number two, the vanish status makes you invisible and invincible. You're not gonna get damage. But you cannot attack, that's pretty bad. But with the weapon, you're going to be able to activate it, get hit, and then you are invincible and you continue to deal damage with this active. It is a pretty good combo, but it only works there basically. There's like a handful of weapons that do something like Daily, so you don't want to use it. Forms a tornado that deals 900% of damage to all enemies and knocks them up in the air, and increases speed by 10% for 10 seconds. The speed increase is acceptable. The knock up is appreciated when usable, but for the most part we're not gonna use it. And the damage is okay. So the support isn't that impressive. It synergizes super well with the weapon, but you can do other things instead. The weapon is super valuable. Do get it if you can. If you like Kurenite, that is. Then we go to Oboro. Oh, my poor girl Oboro. Oboro has the mob outfit. If you like the Bison, I think that's the name, the Bison outfit. Bison, not Bison, Bison outfit. It's kind of nice. Let's see. So the weapon is this one. Kokawa style Moondragon. Spins with Bloodstorm 2 more times and adds pull to enemies towards you, and also pulls the enemies towards you. Damage dealt with skill increases by 22%. This weapon is very good. It is another weapon that gives generic damage increase to skills. That's great. You can use it on any color. Bloodstorm is the blue skill, the all blue skill, and it is pretty nice. Again, similar to Murasaki, you can use it with Witsu for the debuff duration increase strategy to make the enemy super slow or disarm them. And making the enemies be pulled by this skill so that you hit them always, it's amazing. Yeah, I do like this weapon, it's super good. On the other hand, on that same banner, we have Mob Boss Oboro. Yeah. Damage against human enemies is increased by 15%. That's a 30% generic damage increase against humans. It's usable. Yeah, it's usable. Ultimate damage is increased by 15%. I would have appreciated particle charge more than that, but okay. It's a 60% damage increase on the ulti when you're fighting a human. Okay, I can work with that. Once every 15 seconds summons a subordinate during a dodge, who fights while provoking the enemies for 3 seconds. Let's say the double is 6 seconds. So yeah, the cooldown time, the downtime is just um, like not good enough in my opinion. It should be like, it's not even half of the cooldown time, the duration. So yeah, I don't like it. The taunt can be used. I have checked it with heavy cop, but it is more impressive on when you're fighting solo. It is not that impressive on VR. Attacks all enemies with claws, dealing damage, and knocks them back. Apply bleeding effect for 50 seconds, for 50% of the damage for 10 seconds. So yeah, the only good thing about this is the damage increase against humans. That's usable. We can work with that. But everything else is like, whatever effects slap onto this supporter just cause. It is a shame. I mean, it this supporter had a lot of potential. This skill, it was something new, the taunt, but the duration is not good enough in my opinion. So yeah, that was Oboro. The next one is going to be Asuka. My god, Asuka. Not only does she have a great skin, and you can go with whichever hairstyle you want, similar to, it's like a mixture of Murasaki and Kurenai. She has a different hairstyle. She's a machine. It's pretty nice. I like the skin. The weapon. The weapon is amazing. When using Rendering Storm, has a 30% chance to reuse Rendering Storm by using particles. When dodging, leaves a wind blade behind that lasts 5 seconds and continuously deals 30% of damage to enemies within reach for every 5 seconds. It is nice. It is a way to get a lot of multi-hits, that storm thing, and Rendering Storm. Rendering Storm isn't like the best attack in my opinion, but you can deal like, you break the super armor and then you deal 2 powerful hits to the enemy. So it is fine. And you say, but how do you break super armor? Everyone knows how you break super armor with Asuka. Not only does she have a ton of multi hits, she also comes with one of the best supporters in the game, White Feather Asuka. So White Feather Asuka is going to increase damage by 25% when max out to all enemies. To all enemies. It's no 24%. 24% if you're machine and if you're suppressed. So you can use this to get a 24% increased damage with machines or suppressed type characters, and you get more if they have both traits. But the really important part, and what makes this the best supporter in the game, is the second passive. Skill attacks remove super armor at a 10% chance, immediately restores 6% of the lost HP. So if you proc that effect, the super armor break, you're going to restore HP. For what I understand. But the 10% chance is definitely for the skill removal, the super armor removal on skill attacks. This is super great for units that have multi hits on their skills. Even if they are not machine or suppress, like Micah, this is amazing. Then, a large hurricane forms and deals a continuous knock up attack by dealing damage for 3 seconds. It is whatever active. The really important part is the passive. And these effects are not bad if you put them on the right character. So, White Feather Asuka, a must have. Everything is good on her set. Then we have Kirara. As you can see, this is the skin. And it was like, nobody liked it because of this mustache. And I do get it, the mustache is not nice. The eye patch is acceptable, but the mustache is like, it doesn't fit. So, well, And it has a parrot. The parrot. It jiggles. Let's see. So, the weapon is going to be Marine in the Storm. Mariner in the Storm. Mariner in the Storm. Yeah, like that. So, Snow Leopard Fist skill changes every hit into a critical hit using particles, and its final hit freezes the enemy for 3 seconds. This is busted. You're guaranteeing your crits. You're going to give up some particles in exchange for that, but it's completely worth it. And check it. Not affected by the enemy's critical rate reduction, and not applied when there aren't enough particles. So you can use this on BR to guarantee that you crit. You can use Kirara as a crit main attacker on BR. Amazing. And this naturally increases critical damage. I guess it goes up to 30%. Yeah, it's 4, so yeah, it goes up to 30%. It's busted. It is a great weapon. Kirara, though, is not that popular. Leopard Fist, as you can see, it's a Gatling gun attack. It is pretty nice. If you go green, Kirara is viable with this. It's like super busted. But even so, she is not the best character because she's a slow attacker. Let's see. We also have Kirara's blue. It is weird that the supporter and the weapon don't synergize, but it doesn't matter because both are busted. This increases damage dealt by demon type characters up to 40% and restores HP every 10 seconds. It's a regen with a big attack buff. It's amazing. It's limited to demons, but that doesn't matter. When it hits the niche, it's amazing. And a good part of the characters are demons. So, the other part sets up a liquor barrel that explodes after a short delay every 15 seconds. Deals 40% damage. And whatever skill that, whatever passive that doesn't really matter, makes tons of ice blades rain from the sky, deals damage, and reduces the speed of the target by 10% for 10 seconds. This is appreciated. I can work with this. The active is not too bad. So, it is an excellent supporter. Just with this, it's worth it. And this is workable. The active is workable. The extra passive is like, whatever. But it's there. So yeah. This one you want. This one you want. This one you want. This one... No. Like, these three right now are the ones that you want for sure. Ingrid. My girl Ingrid, what did they do to you? Still, you're good on your limited, so... The skin is nice. A lot of skin if you like that. And the weapon. Here I have the weapon. When using Crescent Slash, greatly increases the attack range by using one particle. And when it says greatly, it means greatly, significantly. It's a night and day difference. It like doubles the AoE. If there are not enough particles, this effect will not be applied. Okay, I mean that's fair. Each critical hit increases the damage dealt to all enemies by 30% for 10 seconds every 15 seconds. So, unfortunately, this doesn't stack. It would be busted if it stacked. But it says that you only get a 30% increase. So, it is pretty easy to activate on normal content. For VR, this doesn't work. And for those who don't know, Crescent Slash is this skill. So you see how it hits? Well, it's also going to extend the damage on the second part, so it's great. The supporter, on the other hand, no, not on the other hand, it is also good. It is also good. So the supporter here reduces the damage taken on demon type characters by 22%. and it also increases the critical damage. Let's see. Yeah, it's gonna be 30% when max out. This is super good. It is a generic defensive supporter for demons on green, and that's amazing because green does have the defensive options, but not that many. So getting a defensive option for demons on green, it's really really good, more than the critical thing. Also, when the battle starts, conjures an aura of flames that increases damage dealt to enemies by 20%. That's amazing. Whatever is near you is going to receive more damage. And burns the enemy by 20% of damage for every 2.5 seconds. That's a good thing, but it's not that impressive. The real thing is this damage increase. It's great. Knock up the enemies into the air and deals 1200 of damage with the flames. Yeah, the AoE is nice. It's a good way to clean waves of enemies. It's not like super big, but they get around you and you use that and then you clear that wave. It's nice. It's nice. So this one is another one that you want to get guaranteed. This, and this. Yeah. Let's see. Poor Sue. Sue's skin is nice. I like it. The dragon. It also has a tail. Yeah, it has a tail. It's amazing. So, the weapon increases the duration of super armor gained from the character's skills by 30% and reduces all damage taken by 12% during basic attacks. So yeah, what I don't like about this is that it only reduces damage on basic attacks. If it was a generic damage reduction, I would be very pleased with this. And yeah, maybe you're gonna attack a lot and you're gonna reduce a good part of the damage like that, but maybe you're using a skill or something else. So I heard that super armor also gives damage reduction, 30% damage reduction. So getting an extension of that is nice. I am not too sure. I haven't tested it. I haven't asked Gremory, so that's another thing on my to-do list. Let's see. The next one. The supporter. Yeah, the supporter. The supporter is a mixture of good and bad. Increases melee attacks damage by 2% for 5 seconds. Stack up to 10 times. Loses all stacks upon being attacked. So I hate the loses all stacks upon being attacked part because Sue is meant to be doing receiving the hits because she has the super armor. So it is terrible. Reduces damage taken from demon type enemies by 10%. That's gonna be 20% and 4%. So yeah, the damage reduction is appreciated, I guess. It's only for demon, but it's appreciated. This works if you can break the super armor of the enemy constantly and you're a melee attacker. A fast melee attacker. What else? Or if you're doing slow. That also works. Then, basic melee attack give a 15% chance. I guess it means half a 15% chance of gaining super armor for 2 seconds. I guess thanks. 15% chance is just too low for 2 seconds. If it was 5 seconds, I would appreciate that. But only 2 seconds? Like, if you're super fast, then it works. But if you are not, it is rough. So, this is for fast attackers. Fast melee attackers, okay? Number 1. So, it is very restrictive already. But then we have the active, which is busted. Sends a dragonic wave ahead that deals damage and removes the enemy super armor. Not applied in arena. Removes enemy super armor. That's busted. That's strong. Yeah, you can use it if you want. But for the most part, you want to pilot whoever is using this. So yeah, it is not as bad as I initially thought. but it is rough because of this, loses all the stacks. So yeah, without this, it would be good. I can tell you that. It would be generic good. But still, you want to use it on fast attackers. So that was two. I do not recommend that you get this one. It is not like insane value for what it is. Then we have Noah. Noah is tricky. The skin is nice, as usual. And then we have the weapon. The weapon. Killing an enemy decreases the cooldown time of Harpy's Dream Shade by 1 second every time. Increase damage of Harpy's Dream Shade by 22%. It is increased by 30% when maxed out. And let's check that skill. Harpy's Dream Shade. It's this one. It is super good. The cooldown reduction is just amazing because the cooldown is super big, as you can see. If you're fighting multiple enemies, that's going to be a huge cooldown reduction. The damage on this skill is great. And it's one of those rare skills that have critical damage increase by 250%. So you're going to eliminate whatever gets in your way with that weapon. It is amazing. The supporter though, it is very niche, but also good. Increases speed. Sorry about that. Increases the speed of assist type characters by 7%. It goes up to 10%, I think. Yeah, it goes up to 10%. It's amazing. Normal attack decrease restoration effect of enemies by 30% for 5 seconds. That's good on PvP, but not amazing everywhere else. So the speed increase I really appreciate on PvE because it enables some things with some characters that are unreliable with their base speed. Or it really enhances their basic strategies. It is nice. Then, for the 5th kill, summons a familiar that continuously attacks the enemies, dealing damage for 8 seconds. That's really whatever effect. And the active increases damage dealt to all enemies by 40% for 10 seconds. Immediately reset the cooldown of skills and gain super armor. So yeah, so there's a thing. I think that this part doesn't work. Last time I checked, it didn't work. Like a cooldown reset for your skills. It would be one of the most busted supporters in the game if it worked. For example, the active of the weapon of Micah resets the cooldown of one of the skills. Okay, I'll test it. I'll test it like super quickly. So I don't need anything but this. So I'm going to use the keyboard. You see, the cooldown didn't get resetted. So yeah, that's the problem. It says that it does it, but it doesn't do it. You gain the super armor. That's nice. That's actually pretty good. Not many supporters give super armor, though we have better options in Astaroth, Dark Sun Astaroth. So it depends on what you want. If you want the speed, it's nice. If you want the 40% damage, it's nice. If you're a ranged attacker, then Astaroth is better. If you attack a debuff enemy, then Astaroth is better. Let's see. Let's recent like this. Yeah. Talking about Astaroth. Here we see her super cool skin. I really like this one. And if you prefer her with the classic hair, well, we do have it with classic hair. We have it on black and with purple and other colors. Yes, pretty nice. She's going to have Nifrinka, the wicked Nifrinka. Nifrinka is going to make Serpent Blade terrorize the enemy, and it increases damage to the target based on the number of terror stacks that you have by 6% each stack. So Usually you give like 4 stacks to the enemy with Serpent Blaze. Um, for those who do not know, Serpent Blaze is one of the best attack because it follows the enemy and you can clear enemy waves super easily. But the problem is that Terror is on red. Terror. So Gremory did a real oopsie there by putting the Terror on the red skills and giving the damage increase on the green skill. So yeah, that's not good. But even so, it's usable. Don't worry too much about it. Then, Dark Sun Astaroth. This is another busted supporter. Reduces damage taken from range attacks by 30%. That's appreciated, especially for a range attacker like Astaroth. It really works well. Damage of suppressed type characters increases by 30%. A generic damage increase, that's good. Increases damage dealt with normal attacks to enemies with debuffs by 50%. Wow! An 80% damage increase with both of these. Amazing! And getting a debuff of the enemy is very easy. Flames erupt from cracks in the ground, deals damage, knock up the enemy, and gains super armor for 5 seconds. This supporter is amazing. Really, really good. The weapon is not like the best thing in the world. It's usable, yes. But you can deal. You can use other weapons. What you really want on her gacha is the supporter. Besides, look at this. Maybe you want this one or you want this one. Those are better weapons, in my opinion. I didn't get more of this because I already have Nifrinka. So, even so, Nifrinka is usable if you want it. Then we have Felicia. God, Felicia. Felicia you want. It's another must. I mean, the skin is fine. Not like super great, but it's fine. But this slightly increases the attack range and changes the visual effect of Evil Strange. Evil Strange is the all blue and is one of the most important skins of Felicia. Increases damage of the skill by 40%. Well, so it is not only a supportive skill, it also deals good damage with this. Nice. Has a 10% chance of removing 5 buffs when attacking. Well, if you are using this on PvP, you're going to remove that invincibility and those annoying effects. That's great. So, it is usable for PvP. It is very good for Felicia because Felicia wants to use Evil Strange always. Or Vampiric Zone. Because this marks the enemies. And unfortunately it has only crit rate increase. But you get the damage increase with the weapon. So it's nice. On the other hand, New Year Felicia is a very niche supporter. But when the niche is on effect, it's amazing. Increases skill damage by 30%. Well, I can get more damage with other things like Tsusune, yeah. But it also has increased assist type character damage dealt by 26%. So that's a 56% skill damage increase on assist type characters. It is probably, because I don't remember the numbers right now, but no, Astaroth is stronger, but it is one of the strongest damage increase in the game. If you see something that is a damage increase that is beyond 50%, get it. It's good, I can tell you that. So, also, reduces damage taken from all enemies by 30% for 5 seconds when healing effect is active, every 15 seconds. 5 seconds, but you can constantly gain this, and it's at 30%, it's strong, it's busted. Then, a Kagami-mochi appears for 15 seconds and restores HP, 10% of HP every 3 seconds. Increase damage dealt to all enemies by 10 seconds. So, this is nice. This is really, really nice. because you can auto proc this effect if you don't have any ways of healing, but you should. So it is amazing. It is great. Felicia is another must-have. Uh, this is only the supporter like a must-have, but this, both the weapon and supporter are must-have. Micah, the one that we just got. You know the skin. It's nice. It's cool. If you like Feudor Micah, that's a thing. Then the weapon increases critical rate of incendiary rounds by 30%, resets the cooldown time of incendiary rounds immediately after the particle charges from attacks. After the particle charges from attack is reduced by 1% for 5 seconds, stack up to 3 times. So this is really good if you want to abuse damage and critical builds. Incendiary round, if you don't know it, it's the all green. It has a critical damage increase, so getting critical rate is super good. On every kind of content, even VR, you're going to crit if you build it correctly. But it's more busted on normal content, on I don't know, tower or something that doesn't have the critical rate reduction. So it is a pretty good weapon because it allows you to use a skill twice. Then the supporter, Micah supporter, increase particle charge from attacks by 100%. That's nice. That's generic nice because we don't have those effects on many supporters, and usually it goes up to 50%. Like we have Momoko and we have the umbrella girl, this one, Hikage. Uh, those are not that great because it only gets to 50%. So yeah. On the other hand, this one gets to 100%, and it says when particles are fully charged, damage increases by 100% for 20 seconds. The 20-second part is super amazing because you have a lot of space in between to recharge your particles. You don't want to use this for ultis, you want to use this for weapon actives. If you abuse weapon active, this is a great supporter. Also, if you're a protected character, you're going to get extra critical rate. Protected ally characters' critical rate is increased by 12%. So this is kind of confusing. It says ally, so I guess that this means that you want to use this, that you get this effect for your allies and not yourself. Gremory, I always have this doubt with Gremory. I'll have to ask Gremory how that works. Then, deals damage to nearby enemies and restores 20% of your own particles. This is super amazing because this is meant to be used in conjunction with the weapon active so that you easily get that 50% damage increase. So it is good, but it is niche. It's only viable for weapon actives. If you don't go for weapon actives, don't use this one. If you don't like Micah, don't use this one. If you don't like the green skill, don't get this, okay? But if you like the explosive damage, abusing those bazooka shots, then get it. It's nice. Um, then we have Rin. As you can see, this is the skin for Rin. It is really really nice. You can take this off, and you can also change the hairstyle depending on what you want. The weapon, when using the skill Chain Bolt, has a 40% chance to reset the cooldown time of a skill except Chain Bolt. When Chain Bolt is used, within 5 seconds, its damage increases by 150 and the chance of resetting the passive skill become 100%. So that thing that says that you reset the another skill is nice, but it's also kind of RNG based, so it's difficult to be like super aware of when you're going to take advantage of that. This weapon can be used along with the Micah that I just showed, the supporter, and it's pretty good. Um, and Chainbolt is a really, really strong strategy. For those who do not know, Chainbolt is the green way to electrocute the enemy, which is a damage reduction. And it it attack a bunch of enemies. So it's nice. It's a nice skill. On the other hand, the supporter. The supporter is a mixture of good and bad. Uh, so increases human type critical rate by 30% when maxed out. That's usable, but it is not the strongest effect in the game. Because you want damage, not crit rate. Increases damage by, I think, 6% per enemy nearby. Depending on the enemy. If I'm fighting one boss, it's like nothing. So it is not the best passive, but it's usable, yes. Then, when using a skill, speed increases by 6% for 5 seconds and stacks up to 3 times. That's really useful, actually. It's great. Then, set an electric trap that lasts 5 seconds and deals a groggy attack of 111 1100 damage on impact. When setting the trap, gains electric shield that lasts for 5 seconds. The electric shield, for those who do not know, I don't remember the exact effect, so I'm gonna check it very, very quickly. Come on, come on, come on. I do this. Icon list, and it's here. Electric barrier gains super armor and reduces damage taken. Applied to range attacks only. So that's the disadvantage, but you can use it if you know that your enemy is going to do range attacks. So this one, it's another one that is not exactly a must-have, but it's usable. Again, recent, like this. Anna Rose doesn't have one, so we're gonna skip her. I hope that she, I hope that she gets her limited set soon, or that she gets it at all. You know, her situation is different. Then we have her, Sora. She doesn't have a limited yet. Limited pack. Tokiko. Okay. Tokiko's skin is acceptable, but it isn't like the best thing in the world, in my opinion. Besides, I don't like Tokiko's design, but that's subjective. It is a me thing, so it doesn't really matter. If you like it, it's nice. I do like this thing. It's weird, and it goes to the sides. Okay, so we have that. You can take it off. You can change the hairstyle. You can change the color, yeah. And the weapon. This is the weapon. When using Taimanin art, Fang has let me check, 100% chance to double the number of kunais and change its form. Enemies hit by the transformed kunai have increased damage taken by 6% for 4 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. 4 seconds. Which skill again? Taimanin Art Fang. I don't play with her, so. Taimanin, Fang. This one, the red one, okay. Oh! That's bad. That's really bad. I mean, there are ways to use this. Let's say that the enemy has the super armor down, or the enemy is not going to hit you because of the timing or positioning, whatever. You get in front of the enemy, you charge the skill, and you hit them with the 5 of them. Then you're gonna be dealing increased damage by 30% increased damage for 4 seconds to one enemy. Then it's good if you get near the enemy. And it works to increase the damage against all enemies that get hit. So you can also use it against a wave of enemies. And it also reduces enemies' damage. That's terrible. Huh. Kunai track the enemy. Okay. I forgot about this effect. No, okay, it is good. It is good. Even so, I don't like it because chance to double the number of kunais. Okay, I like it now, and I don't like it yet. You're gonna attack more enemies. You're gonna deal more damage. You're going to have the damage increase. It is a nice weapon, I gotta say. But the 4 second duration, I really hate. Like, she has to take advantage of that and do a skill immediately to deal as much damage as possible with this effect. So, yeah, it's usable, yet I would like this to last maybe 6 seconds. With that, I would be pleased. Let's see. Then, this one. This one. This is good and niche. Opens her eye to deactivate the speed, to decrease the speed of all enemies for 3 seconds by 30% for 10 seconds. No, every 10 seconds, every 10 seconds. So it is a 3 second, 30% speed reduction. It lasts, it doesn't last long. It's just a thing that's there, and it helps with the control strategies, with the speed control strategies. Increases damage dealt with normal attacks by what? Maybe 30%, I guess? Yeah, 30%. It is nice. It is a generic damage increase on normal attacks. This is particularly good for Emily if she goes red to control the speed of the enemy. Increases damage dealt by ally characters, range attacks by 10%. That's also really good if you put it in the activate. It helps you out on VR. Throw kunai at all directions and deals 370 of damage. Increases critical rate of all of range attacks by 30%. The active is not that impressive, but everything else is very, very decent. You may get this one. It is not the most busted, the most amazing, but it is very useful. Versatile, even. Momochinagi doesn't have one. Momochinagi has a special situation here because this is a skin that we receive for a limited time, and it was a skin that came with the Momochi weapon, which is a permanent weapon, and it costs less. It was really nice, and besides this, it looks super cool. It looks nice, Momochi. So I like it. Let's see. This one, Shizuru. You can see Shizuru here. I'm going to change the color. You can take this off. You can put it on red. You can change the hairstyle. You can put the glasses. You can do many things with this skin. This one is a must-have only because of the weapon. The weapon is extremely busted. Increases damage of all allies within range by 30%. It's 40% when maxed out. For 5 seconds when Rose Rondo, when using Rose Rondo. Reduce critical rate resistance of enemies hit by Rose Rondo by 30% for 5 seconds. So when you use Rose Rondo, you get a bunch of benefits. You reduce the defense of the enemy. Everything within range of your allies is going to gain attack. And you're also going to reduce the, what was it, critical resistance? Yeah, critical attack resistance of the enemy. So you're going to be able to crit with this. If you thought that Lina was good, this is even better. I can tell you that. It's just disgusting. Her critical rate reduction is huge. Critical attack resistance reduction is huge. My god. Yeah, you need this weapon if possible, guys. It is the weapon for VR. Because Shizuru increases damage so much. Then the supporter. The supporter is in a weird spot. Increases fortitude of suppressed type characters by 8%. That is a chance to not take damage, which is nice, but like it's only 10%. It's not that big of a deal. Then increases the duration of buffs the characters grant by 4 seconds when maxed out. So this works with the weapon, and you're going to be dealing more damage for more time. So you're giving up the slot that you would use for a damage increase effect for increasing the time that you have a damage increase. You can use it if you want, but it is not necessary. If it's on the main, increases speed of suppressed type characters by 10%. Nice, I appreciate that. And receives a blessing that recovers 40% of max HP in 5 seconds when HP falls to 0. So you activate this and you revive. But you only have a 5-second window to revive. It's not like you have a revive and whenever you die you are going to revive. No, you only have 5 seconds to die after activating this. Unfortunately, the cooldown is long, but I mean you're reviving. Obviously, it's going to be that long. Then the next one is going to be Saika. This is the skin for Saika. Looks pretty nice, right? I like it. The weapon. The weapon is also one of the most busted ones in the game. Regardless of the application of the supporter's set effect, performs an additional attack all the times when using Shadowless Kick. The effect cannot be duplicated. They increase the damage of additional attack by 12% per combo occurred by Shadowless Kick. Increase fortitude by 15% when using Shadowless Kick. I guess that's gonna go up to let's see, 16% for the damage and 20% for the fortitude increase. Fortitude is going to give you penetration on your attacks. And let's check Shadow Kick. As you can see, you do a ton of attacks, so you're going to have a huge combo, and you're going to deal extra damage, a huge amount of extra damage on that last attack. It is really, really good. On the other hand, the supporter of Fuma Saika is not impressive, yet useful. Has a 10% chance to restore particles by, let's say, 10%? Let's see. Yeah, 10% when using skills. I mean, okay, particles, I guess. I don't know why I need them, but it's okay. Because the weapon doesn't have an active. Increases skill damage, the weapon doesn't have an active, right? Am I saying, yeah, doesn't have an active. Increases skill damage by 30%. That's gonna be 40%. That's nice. That's a generic damage increase on green. It's really, really good, that part. Increase melee attack penetration by 10%. I mean, you're going to receive even more penetration, so Saika is really good on that department. If you put this, you're gonna do great on BR. Deals damage to enemies in front and reduce the HP restoration by 50% for 10 seconds. Nice, acceptable. Let's see. So this is another must-have, no debate. Oh, Shisui. You can see this, but I'm going to put it on the original color. This is the original color. It looks really nice. You can take the cat ears, you can also take the wings if you don't like them. So, the weapon. Guardian Gear Type 26. When using the skill Light of Explosion, it pulls the enemy towards the Guardian, and with each successful hit, speed increases by I don't know how much. Maybe, let me check. Maybe 6%? Yeah, like 6%. For 5 seconds, it acts up to 3 times. Increases damage of familiars by 40%. So yeah, the damage increase is amazing. Amazing. You do want this. You do want this one. I mean, it's great for Shisui. Uh, but it really depends on what you want. I don't have the other weapon, the like the character release weapon, the white one, not the Momochi. Uh, that one reduces damage taken. So if you want to go tank, you can also use the other weapon. It is not necessary, but it is useful. I mean, it is strong to get that damage increase. Then, Gear Shisui increases damage of familiars by 50% and speed by 10%. After using a skill, there is a 10% chance to recover 8% of lost HP. And that's super great for her because she's already tanky. So it is amazing. And you're getting another huge damage increase. With the set, you get 90% damage increase. It's just amazing. Decreases damage taken from ally suppressed type characters by 30%. Nice, nice. It's a big number and it is permanent, but you have to be suppressed. And it's for allies. Again, I have to ask Gremory if that works for everyone or only allies. Which would be a shame if it was only for allies. Deals damage to the enemy ahead with the Golem's Fist and increases damage taken of attacked enemies by 50%. Strong, but this is weird. And increases damage taken of attack enemies by 50%. Like, forever? It doesn't say, like, how much time. Let's test that very quickly. Here, I'm going to go here. We're almost done, guys. So, very quickly. Okay. Yeah. It lasts long, but it is not specified. So yeah, it has a good duration. It is not like 3 seconds. It is more than that. So yeah, it is definitely worth it. Both. This is another must-have. Let's see. Recent, like this. Prophet Eleanor. Prophet Eleanor is pretty nice. Pretty nice, yes. You can take this and this. Prophet Eleanor has one of the best weapons in the game because it ensnares the enemies. Snares enemies hit with reflective ray for 10 seconds. 10 seconds! That's the effect of a supporter on the main. That's amazing. And reduces the critical attack resistance by 10% for 5 seconds. This is great. This allows us to crit. I should start doing the crit strategies for VR. For you to see. So, increase critical damage dealt to enemies under wet status by 44%. That's a big critical increase. That's amazing. So, let's check. Reflective ray doesn't apply wet, but it has a big AoE. Here is smaller because it doesn't have the effect, but it is a big AoE. And Eleanor has ways to inflict wet with the red. That's a good thing. Acid Rain and Aqua, no. And Spirit Beast do inflict wet, so you're gonna get the critical damage increase easily. Then, let's go with the supporter. The supporter is amazing because increases damage dealt to all enemies by 8%, proportionate to the number of enemies affected by wet status. So, according to the number of enemies that are wet, you're gonna get 8% more damage. This is good on VR, not on Mask Taimanin, but on everyone else, because there are buffs. Increases critical rate of all attacks by 26%. Nice, especially because you have critical resistance reduction. So that's great. Deals 30% of damage and applies wet status for 5 seconds to one random enemy, to one random target every 4 seconds. has a 50% chance to apply wet status to 4 additional enemies. That's great. So you're putting wet on the enemy and you have a chance to apply to more enemies. That's amazing. That's super, super great. Drawing energy from Aquarius deals damage to all enemies as a waterfall and reduces their speed by 20% for 8 seconds. 20% speed reduction is amazing. Even though it's only 8 seconds, it's nice. It's just enough. So, another great supporter. This is another must-have, both weapon and supporter. Heavyco. Heavyco we received recently is the New Year Heavyco. Pretty nice. That emulates the future self. This is going to use this weapon. Octopus Windmill can be used while moving, increases speed by 20% and reduces damage taken by 30%. Increases damage by 20% for 6 seconds when being healed. I'm not sure how this works, to say the truth. And I mean, I don't know which effects specifically are only active when being healed. I guess it's the damage increase. But it doesn't have a dot. So maybe it's also the damage reduction? No, I think it's the speed, the damage, and I don't know, guys. I don't know which effects are applied when being healed. But it is easy to get healed with her because she has the Octo Ink on blue. So Octopus Windmill can be used while moving. This is super great because Octopus... Octopus Windmill can be used... has a big AoE, and now you can move it so that you hit the enemies that you want. That's amazing. And increase the number of attacks, that's great. Increase the attack range, that's also great. So you're going to hit the enemies and you're going to deal a lot of damage with this skill. That's amazing. The speed increase, damage reduction, and damage increase are great. And if you think that you're not going to use them, let me tell you that you can. There are many things that you have to take into consideration. Number one, a Heavyco is an assist. So you're going to be using, if possible, not here. You can use this, you can use this, and this. These 3 supporters are going to help you a lot. Because she is going to get healed with those supporters and you're going to use the weapon effect. And then the supporter is green. The supporter is green, oddly enough. It's another one of those that doesn't have a synergy, but it is another good supporter. Increases damage by 24% and reduces damage taken by 24% at 10-second intervals. So you're gonna change between damage increase and damage reduction, which is nice, especially for characters who can restore HP. And then has a 50% chance to inflict poison of 100% of damage for 12 seconds when attacking an enemy with debuffs. That's super great. It says 50% chance, but it might as well be 100% chance because it's with any attack. So the debuff duration is going to allow you to just poison the enemy, and that's great because it's an activation condition for other supporters. And it's also a very good way to deal damage to enemies when they have a lot of damage reduction. Drops a dagger at random enemies every 15 seconds and summons an ink orchid that deals 180 of continuous damage for 5 seconds. That's whatever, it's not that impressive, but it also helps to proc this effect. Deploys an ink dragon in front that deals damage to the enemy. So only the passive is important. The active is not that impressive. Maybe the damage is impressive, but not that much. So, is this a must-have? Not really. It is an enabler, which is very useful, and the weapon is very good. But if you are a Heavyco enthusiast, that is. So, this, as much as I like, I would not recommend that you get like a must-have. It's just a good weapon if you want it. And that's it, guys. Those are all the weapons that we have. All the character limited sets. Again, I'm gonna focus on the ones that you should definitely get because those are the best. No, this only the weapon. I'm also only going to mention the ones that are super good, but only one part of the set. This only the weapon is good. This only the weapon is good. This, like, the supporter is usable, but only the weapon is super good. Only the supporter is super good. Only the weapon is super good. This one is a must-have, both weapon and supporter. Must have both weapon and supporter. Must have both weapon and supporter. Nope. Niche. Yeah, niche. Only the supporter is super good. Must have both. Well, yeah, must have both weapon and supporter. Niche. 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 Must have weapon. And I really mean must have. Must have weapon and supporter. Must have weapon and supporter. Must have weapon and supporter. If you want, that's an option. So, yeah, that's about it, guys. What do you think about the supporters? About the weapons? About all of this? Do you think they are worth it? Do you think you should get some of them? Like, it is not necessary to have all of them. I don't have all the supporters like BD, but I have many of them, and I try to get them at least the limited at high skill level. For example, at the time I wasn't able to. No, this is not it. It's on collection. I wasn't able to get obviously the first ones. Neither was I able to get some character release. Especially this one. This is the one that I regret the most. That one. These are permanent, so eventually I'll get them. I hope that this is permanent. I really hope. Well, let me check. It's about time, right? That we see if it's permanent or not. Oh, I hope it's not limited. Well, that's gonna be it for today, guys. And I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!